Good, happy Tuesday evening, February 22nd, 2022. I'm Riley King. Welcome to this Tuesday evening edition of the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. Let's get started right now. First step, New Hampshire AG opens investigation into use of force incidents against inmates. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
I will do anything I can to be the voice of people that don't understand you got to get vaccinated.
Well, Mike, 14 people from the prison, varying in rank from lieutenant to corporal, sergeant to corrections officer, are now on administrative leave because of that criminal investigation. According to a letter obtained by News 9 Investigates, the Attorney General's office says this has to do with two use of force incidents involving an inmate at the New Hampshire Department of Corrections. That letter says both happened in late April of 2021. It also includes a look into documentation of that incident. In a statement, the New Hampshire Department of Corrections says they, quote, remain committed to providing a safe environment for residents and staff. The department says they can't answer any other questions due to the ongoing investigation, and the AG is asking the DOC to stop any internal investigation if it has one underway. Live in the newsroom, Grace Feinerman, WMUR News.
Okay, there you go on that video and that report. Crisis in Ukraine. Biden sanctions Russia obstacles and banks in Ukraine crisis. The East-West face-off over Ukraine escalated dramatically Tuesday, with Russian lawmakers authorizing President Vladimir Putin to use military force outside his country, and President Joe Biden and European leaders responding by slapping sanctions on Russians' obstacles and banks. Russia and Ukraine conflict could raise gas prices in New Hampshire and across the U.S. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
I will do anything I can to be the voice of people that don't understand you got to get vaccinated.
We got to wake up, America. This is preventable. And all the work that we're doing here and all the care that we're doing, the vast majority of it is preventable.
It was $3.74 of my hard-earned dollars. That's a lot of money. It's ridiculous. It just keeps going up and up.
For Granite Staters filling up at the pump, these rising prices could be getting worse.
This coming week will say a lot about gas prices, and that's going to have a lot to do with what's happening in Russia and Ukraine.
Russia is the world's third largest oil producer, and Dan Goodman with AAA Northern New England says any sanctions will bring up costs.
The United States and some of those other industrial nations will most likely put forth, release some of those millions of barrels that they have in reserve, which would help.
In the meantime, Goodman says you can make the most of your dollar by conserving your fuel. Some safety tips: map out routes, combine errands into one trip, and don't speed. In the meantime,
And the whole Russia situation is concerning, and what the government is doing about it or not doing about it is definitely a concern.
Granite Staters say they're frustrated each time they fill up.
I mean, it's one thing for me, but there's a lot of people that are struggling. You got college kids. You got, my son. He's got a job making $16 an hour. So when you got to pay $3.74, that's a lot of money.
And experts say the average price per gallon here in the Granite State is $3.48. To put that number into perspective, that is 7 cents higher than just last week. Live in Hooksett, Grace Feinerman, WMUR.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Red Cross seeks volunteers for blood drives and disaster relief. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Our hope is to get the message out far and wide.
That message, volunteers are needed. In the case of blood drives, the Red Cross is looking for about 40 volunteers, 16 or older, to serve as blood ambassadors.
We are hosting blood drives every day across multiple communities, and we need volunteers to be there at those events to make those happen.
The training for this typically takes an hour, and if you're a little squeamish, that's okay.
You're getting them checked in when they arrive at the drive. You're welcoming them. You're making sure the canteen is stocked with snacks so that they have a positive experience.
The organization also needs about 50 adults to help out with local disaster relief.
Home fires now, but in a month or so, it could be localized flooding as we enter the spring.
The idea is to keep those helping out with disasters as local as possible.
We never want volunteers driving, more than an hour or two to get to an emergency. So that's why it's really essential to have volunteers all throughout the state.
This training typically takes about 5 hours. You can do the training for either of those areas at your convenience.
All of our training right now is hosted online. We've made it simple so that you can do it from home.
Regardless of what you end up doing, the Red Cross says all volunteers share one thing in common.
Probably what stands out the most for me is compassion, just having a willingness and desire to give back and help others.
Now, to help out in person, volunteers do need to be vaccinated against COVID-19, but a booster shot is not required. The job fair runs this Thursday from 3 to 5. You can find more information on WMUR.com and our mobile app. Ray Brewer, WMUR News 9.
Okay, there you go on that video and that report. And that does it for this evening edition of the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. Thank you for tuning in and watching. Have a great evening, and I'll see you back here tomorrow evening for another newscast. Good night and goodbye, everyone.